It's Monday night, healthy runners. You know what that means? It's Monday night Spark. In tonight's live training, we're talking feet. We're going to be talking about 5 tips for you to run without foot pain, or for you to actually run despite having some foot pain. We're going to get into kind of this 5-tip system, and I know you have big goals this fall race season. Fall races have kicked into high gear. Everyone started doing their fall races, and I know you have a lot more the rest of this month, as well as next month. So this live training is going to be for you if you kind of take your first step in the morning, you step out of bed, and you feel some pain right down here or right in here into your arch. And maybe it takes like 5 or 10 minutes for your pain to go away. Or when you're running, you're starting to feel some pain in the bottom of your foot at mile 4 and mile 5. We're going to really be diving into this 5-step process. We're going to be talking about stretching. We're going to be talking about patience. We're going to be talking about activity modification. We're going to be talking about resistance training. And we're going to be talking about keeping up with your exercises. So we're going to get in depth to this 5-step process. So those of you that are jumping on here on the live, just type in live into the comment box. And those of you guys who are watching this on the replay, just type in #team replay. I like to see how many people can kind of tune in to the replay, and I'll give you a shout out. So just let me know that you did watch this video. And if you're actually watching this on YouTube and you came across our channel on YouTube, consider subscribing to see some more other healthy tips as well as exercises. So before we actually get into this content, I did a video on this past weekend, and I hope some of you saw it, but I need to give one more plug in for our Spark bib boards here. So for those of you that don't know, for those of you who have a race coming up and you want to say no to safety pins, you're kind of tired of the safety pins making all these holes in all of your nice running shirts, your nice running tank tops, and you don't want to make holes anymore, these Spark bib boards, pretty good. We tried them out this weekend. A couple of us healthy runners at the Wallingford Fishbine 5K and 10K. If you haven't seen these are kind of neat. You just kind of take your little race bib here. We got Hartford coming up this weekend. So I'll show you my bib from Hartford. They just pop right in the holes here. And then you have a backing that attaches to the bib board right in the back. And it actually doesn't make a hole in your shirt. So it actually just grabs your shirt and doesn't make any holes. And then you got add a little spark to your race, add a little spark to your training. So those of you who are, if you are interested in getting a set of these bib boards, they are a $10 value, but I would love to give them to as many healthy runners as possible. All you need to do to get a Spark bib board is attend our kind of live on-site little warm-up for the Hartford Marathon, half marathon, 5K this weekend, as well as subscribe to the YouTube channel, Spark Your Training, and then just drop it into the comment box that you did subscribe to the channel, and you will get a set of these on Saturday when we meet up for the warm-up. So I know a couple of you have also mentioned that you might not want to do the jog, and that's completely okay, because I would recommend, especially if you're running your first full marathon, that you don't do the 1-mile jog with us. Or if it is your first half marathon, then you might not want to do the 1-mile jog as well. I would recommend the dynamic warm-up that we're going to do following that. And then I will get on my little pet peeve right now, because I know there was an email that was sent out, and you will have some people doing some pre-race stretching. Remember, guys, pre-race stretching should be active, dynamic. It should never be a static stretch and hold where you're holding 30 to 60 seconds. There's been actually research studies that show that that actually decreases performance. So you don't want to do your static stretching before you run. So definitely at a race, you shouldn't be doing that. So I know there are sometimes sponsors who have tables set up, and I still see some people stretching runners before the race. I would highly recommend that you do not have your hamstring stretched before you race on Saturday. Save that for after the race. After the race is the best time to do that. So definitely save that for after the race. That would be a good time. But if you guys are going to be getting in the warm-up, we have the event set up on our Healthy Runner group. So head over to the event, sign up for the event just so I know who's actually attending, so I know who to keep an eye out for. And we're going to be meeting at the carousel. So the carousel right in the center of everything. We're going to meet up nice and early, guys, 6:45, because it's going to take a good 10 to 15 minutes for all of us to meet up. I'll give you your bib board. We'll kind of get going, and then we'll head out for our jog at about 7. I like to do this nice and early. This worked out great for New Haven road race. We're going to do it nice and early, get your little jog in, get the blood flow going, do our dynamic warm-up. So then you're going to have a good 30, 35 minutes before the race actually starts for you to hit the porta potties one more time, go drop something off in your car, go drop something off to your loved one, put your bag somewhere. I like to keep it no stress zone before a race. I know everyone gets a little jitters. So you're going to have plenty of time to get to the start line before your race. So you can kind of stay warm during that time period. I would recommend jogging around a little bit, moving, keep yourself moving. But we're going to do it nice and early, so don't be late. Make sure you know where you're going to be parking in Hartford. I know I get there kind of early. I park in a lot that's open. It's free. So if you guys get there early enough, you can park in a lot. You don't have to do the garage, because I did the garage one year and it took a while, and then it's a long walk. So there's actually a couple of parking lots that are super close to where all the vendors are. So I would highly recommend that. So that is Hartford this Saturday. Hopefully I see a lot of you there. Guys, if you are running Hartford, just type in Hartford into the comment box below. I'm really pumped about that. So Dawn's jumping on here on the live. Marva, good to see you. I will be seeing you on Saturday. Thank you for jumping on here on the live. Peter, good to see you. And good to see you. Crystal's here on the live. Scott, what's up, Scott? How are you? Heather, thanks for jumping on here on the live. Jen, good to see you. Good to see you, Jen. Jeff's here on the live. Thank you, Jeff. Good to see you as well. And Katie, my girl Katie is here on the live. Katie and I had a great time at the Wallingford race this weekend with a bunch of other of our friends and some of the healthy runners. It was a nice little local race in Wallingford. So Katie killed it. She took pretty much first in her age group. Her and her friend, nice little tie for first and second place. So that was great. So thank you for jumping on here on the live. All right, guys, let's get into it. We're going to be talking feet today. So hopefully you like some feet. Plantar fasciitis. So what is plantar fasciitis, or heel pain? So plantar fasciitis occurs, let me show you here a little anatomy. Here we go. So we have the bottom of your foot. On the bottom of your foot, you have this fascia, which is actually the structure right here. This is connective tissue. So this actually goes over these muscles. There's a lot of deep muscles in your feet. If you didn't know, there's a lot of small little muscles in the bottom of your foot. These are the muscles that we're going to be talking about later that you definitely want to strengthen and activate. Make sure you have some activation of those muscles in order to keep your foot healthy. And the fascia goes right underneath that. So the plantar fascia is this deep connective tissue structure that basically holds everything in your foot in place. Now that fascia actually connects to, let's take a look at the skeleton here. It connects to the bottom of your heel bone. So this is your heel bone, your calcaneus, and the fascia actually connects right to this bone, this bump right here. We call that the medial calcaneal tubercle. So this red part of the bone is actually where that fascia connects. And this is the most common spot that a lot of runners will have pain right on the inside part of this bone. So again, this is going to be pain first thing when you stand in the morning. If you're sitting, you're doing a project at work, you're at your desk for a while, you're in a long meeting, you go to stand up, and you're like, ooh, there's some pain on the bottom of my foot. What is that? That is plantar fascia foot pain, or they call it heel pain. So it is a somewhat of a misnomer, because plantar fasciitis technically means itis, means inflammation. A lot of people who have this type of pain, it's not true inflammation in the sense that things are inflamed and you just need to calm them down, because most people actually have this pain chronically. So they have it over time. So what actually happens is the fascia gets tight on the bottom of your foot. It kind of goes into a shortened state, especially if you think about when you sleep. Most of us sleep with our foot kind of flexed forward over the covers. So this puts that fascia in a shortened position. So then we're sleeping for hopefully 8 hours, hopefully 7. I know I don't get that, so I'm sleeping for 4, 5, or 6. And so then I go to get up in the morning, and now the fascia is in the shortened state. And now we get to like middle-aged, So we're getting up into our 30s, 40s, and 50 years old. And we go to step on the floor. And what happens is when we step and our body weight goes onto your foot, the foot splays and stretches. And it actually stretches that fascia right where it connects to this bone. So then what happens is that irritation occurs right where the fascia connects to the bone. And then this is where, guys, if you've heard of bone spurs before, this is where the bone spur is. It's on the bottom of the heel, and the bone spur goes in the direction of the fascia that it pulls because it gets irritated and it pulls. And when this happens over time, chronically, then you'll actually get bone forming in excess. So it kind of forms this little bone spur on the end of the bone. Now, the bone spur, let me just like dispel this myth right here. Here's myth number one. The bone spur is not the reason why you have the heel pain. Okay, let me just say that again because I hear this time and time again. So the bone spur is not why you have heel pain. The reason you have heel pain is the soft tissue. So it's the fascia that connects to the bone that's actually causing your heel pain. If we remove the bone spur, your heel pain does not go away. All right? If we took an x-ray of both of your heels right now, most likely at least 60 to 70% of you guys who are watching this video right now have bone spurs. And I can guarantee you 60 to 70% of you do not have heel pain. All right, so it's not the bone spur. And this actually just happened last week. I was working with a runner, and she had told me that she had x-rays on both sides, and she has heel pain on one side, and she doesn't have heel pain on the other side. And the medical provider who read her x-ray said that her feet are terrible, that she's got these huge bone spurs. And that's the reason why she has her pain. But my patient was astute enough to think to herself and say, but I don't have any pain on the other side, and you're telling me that it looks exactly the same on x-ray, that the bone spurs look exactly the same on x-ray. So it is not the bone spur that actually causes the pain, it's the soft tissue that connects. And it's that chronic irritation of the soft tissue that causes the heel pain that you're feeling when you take that first step in the morning. So Marva says that her heel pain, or I think she's saying that her pain actually acted up this morning. So I'm sorry to hear that, Marva. Hopefully you get some good tips in tonight's video. Debbie, thanks for jumping on here. Debbie's here on the live, and Crystal is doing the Hartford half. So Crystal, it would be great to see you at Hartford. I know we met at New Haven, so it would be nice to see you at Hartford as well. So guys, that is actually what plantar fasciitis is. And again, it's more that misnomer because it's not an actual, usually acute inflammatory process. It's more of a chronic inflammation and degenerative changes to the actual soft tissue connection. So that fascia connection starts to degenerate over time, and this area does not have good blood flow. It doesn't have good blood supply, and that's why it tends to get injured. So similar to the Achilles tendon, that does not have good blood supply, especially 2.5 centimeters above where it attaches to the heel bone. That's why we get that chronic Achilles pain as runners, as well as since we've got a little anatomy lesson here today, as well as the IT band, which actually goes right here. So actually, guys, I just did a podcast with Steve Carmichael, Run Buzz podcast, Friday. He actually just released it today. And we talked about IT band syndrome. So I would definitely check out the Run Buzz podcast. Hear that interview we did. We really got into IT band syndrome. So if you're getting outside the knee pain, here's your IT band, guys. If you're wondering, this is what it looks like, your IT band. And it actually attaches to the muscle up here at the hip. So this is the tiny little muscle, the tensor fasciae lata muscle. And then here's the IT band. But guys, go check out that podcast. We had a great time with Steve, and I think you will find it very informative. But it's more this chronic irritation of soft tissue, just like IT band syndrome, just like Achilles. Plantar fasciitis is a soft tissue problem, not a bone spur problem. So the 5 tips we're going to be talking about today addresses the soft tissue. All right. So we started out with 3 tips when I was thinking about what I wanted to share with you tonight. And I was thinking this weekend, what what do I want to share with you guys tonight that's going to provide high value, right? You guys have been awesome supporters coming on here every week doing our Monday Night Spark Lives. I know we've covered a bunch of other topics in the past. I was thinking to myself, we haven't really covered plantar fasciitis yet. So let's do this. I'm going to cover 3 tips. 3 tips is like easy to remember. 2 weeks ago, we did the ask method. We talked about being a stubborn runner with 3 tips. However, I thought about it today, and I was saying, all right, what's the acronym I'm going to use? So why don't we use SPARK? SPARK's got 5, right? 5 letters. So we're going with 5 tips today, and these are actually going to work out well. Tip number 1, guys, S. The S is going to be stretch. What do we want to stretch if we're starting to get some of this heel pain? We want to stretch 3 structures we're really going to talk about is your calf muscle. So let's go back. Calf muscle, talking about stretching our calf muscle, stretching our Achilles, as well as the plantar fascia, because all of this connects. This is like all of your, what we call our posterior chain, and it all connects. So your calf muscle to the Achilles tendon, to the plantar fascia, as well as the deep muscles on the bottom of the foot. We want to improve the mobility. We want to stretch all of this, okay? So if you guys are really wondering to yourselves, how do I stretch those structures, or what should I stretch first? I've actually come into a lot of contact with some runners who come to me and they're having this heel pain, and they say, well, my doctor told me to stretch my Achilles. And they're stretching their Achilles, which is helpful, but the single best thing, if you had to do one stretch only, the single best thing you can do is for the plantar fascia, because your problem is here, it's an issue with the fascia. So one stretch, the one best stretch that I could recommend is an isolated stretch to your plantar fascia, where you're going to actually grab your toes and pull your foot back, and that is going to stretch your fascia right in here. So if you guys, I have posted this on my YouTube channel before. If you want a link to that, just type into the comment box, one stretch. I will be happy to just drop that link on how to actually stretch and isolate that fascia. And the best thing to do that, guys, is before you put your weight on the foot in the morning. So remember how we talked about the foot is pointed downward, and then you take that step, that first step, your body weight splays your foot down, stretches it, causes this chronic irritation. So what you need to do is you need to stretch that foot first before you put your body weight down on the foot and cause the irritation of that attachment site. So you need to stretch before you step on it. So you're going to do that first thing in the morning at the side of your bed, grab your foot, pull your toes back, stretch that fascia. I have a great video on it on how to do that stretch. So just type that into the comment box. I will drop you that link. So that is single most important actionable step that you can take today, is stretching that fascia first thing in the morning, as well as after prolonged sitting. So if you're at your desk for a while sitting, you don't have a sit to stand station like I do, and you're not getting up all day throughout the day, then you definitely want to pop your shoe off, stretch your foot out before you actually go step on it, to go walk, to go get another coffee, go get a tea, go to the restroom, right? Stretch that fascia. So that is our first tip right here, is stretching the fascia. Tip number 2. Sundar, thank you for jumping on here on the live. Crystal says she's felt that too, hers as well. So hopefully, Crystal, this will be helpful for you. And guys, this is most common in middle-aged folks, like I mentioned before. I'm feeling this. I've been feeling this for a couple months now. So again, that's why I was thinking about how can I help you guys, and what can I do to kind of help you along this process. All right, so Crystal is going to be getting the one stretch. So is Marva. Tracy, thank you for jumping on here on the live. Good to see you. Tip number 2, patience, guys. Unfortunately, this condition takes time to heal. This will not go away overnight. What you're going to do is, with the tips I'm going to share with you tonight, is this is definitely going to speed up your recovery process. And my goal is for you to catch it early before it really gets to a highly irritable state where you're having pain like every time you walk. Hopefully right now you're only feeling pain first thing in the morning for the first couple of minutes, and then it goes away. Or you're only feeling it maybe a 1 or 2 out of 10 pain-wise when you're running. This is the best time to catch this and actually go through all the tips that I'm going to share tonight. And then this will get better really quickly meaning over a couple weeks. If you can barely walk because you're having foot pain, then you definitely need some more guidance. You actually need some more hands-on treatment. to really mobilize your foot and ankle joints, do some soft tissue work, whether it's instrument assisted, dry needling to your calf muscles. So these are the things I work on with my clients who I work with individually. But hopefully we're catching you at the early phase and you can actually self-manage a lot of this on your own. But you're going to need patience. This is not going to go away overnight. Typically, people can have this for 6 to 12 months. If you wind up getting treatment from a medical provider, then you're going to speed that process up. So 2 people I could just think of that I've worked with recently, runners, saw them, were not able to run because their pain got so bad. We started initiating treatment and we got them back to running within a week. I actually kept them off from running for a week. As we initiated treatment, they initiated some simple stretches, some of them that we're going to be talking about today, and they got going on their program. We were able to calm down the pain levels, the irritability, and then do a return to run. Because remember, guys, you don't want to just stop running, get treatment, go to physical therapy 2 to 3 times a week for X number of weeks, and then, okay, now my doctor cleared me to run, and then try to go out there and run your 3 miles like you did, or 4 miles prior to actually having this pain. That's not going to get you back to running. What you're going to do is need to back off a little bit of your running, start to actually treat the area, and then gradually work your running back in. That's what we've been able to do. And I got a client now. We're getting her ready back for a half marathon training. So I'm really excited about that. All right, so we're going to have patience. That's tip number 2. So comment in the comment box if you really want the quick fix, right? We are such a society of quick fixes, right? That's how all the infomercials are like making all this money. People are watching infomercials. How many of you want the quick fix? You just get the gimmick. You think there's going to be one thing that's going to be the magic bullet that's going to take care of your pain. Unfortunately, I'm here to tell you that there is no one single thing. And this condition that you have is not a quick fix. All right. It is going to take time. That's why you need patience. So if you're a quick fix type person, just type in quick fix into the comment box. It's a no judgment zone here. 3rd tip, the A in Spark. So we talked about, I can't do my left to rights when I'm looking at this video here. S, stretching. P is patience. A is going to be activity modification. So that's where you're going to need to cut back your mileage initially. You can't run through this at the same intensity that you're doing and expect that you're going to get better. You need to actually modify your activity. And this is hard for us, right? Like, I'm type A. I'm very structured, regimented. Monday morning, I'm running 3 miles. I'm going to the gym, get my workout in. That's what I did this morning. Tomorrow, I'm running 4 miles, right? So Tuesday's my run day only, no gym day, right? I got my structure. I got my plan, right? How many of you are type A? Put type A into the comment box because I find that most runners are type A and we're very regimented. However, you're going to need to modify your activity. So you're going to have to get out of your structure a little bit and be okay with that and embrace a little bit of change, because the activity modification is going to actually get your foot better. So you need to modify your activity in order to get that foot better. So Jeff says he's a quick fix type person. Sundar, he very much needs a quick fix. Yeah, man, it's coming down 26.2 this Saturday. I'm very excited for you. I know this has been long. You've been putting in a lot of the training. And actually, Sundar, I do want to give you a shout out and thank you, because I believe it was you who shared the Run Buzz podcast on our group when we first opened our group. Seriously, I vividly remember this. I feel like it was like the second week that we opened the Healthy Runner group, and you actually just shared a podcast episode from the Run Buzz podcast, and I started listening to it and started listening to all the episodes, got a lot of great value. My long runs, that's what I like to do, is listen to podcasts, and then the last like 3 miles, I like throw on my music to give me a little pump, do a little negative split for the end of the long run. But I loved Steve's content, and I reached out to him and, saw if there was any need that he had. He said he never covered IT band syndrome. So Sundar, you're going to definitely want to check out that episode, because I know we've had some conversations before. So I thank you. Thank you to all of you, honestly, who are in the Healthy Runner CT group. This has been amazing. The stuff that you guys are sharing, the questions you're asking, the community that we're forming, the help, the kind of motivation. I love it. It's just been amazing. So thank you to all of you who are in our Healthy Runner CT group. And if you're watching this on YouTube and you're not a member yet, head over to Facebook, Healthy Runner CT, into the comment box or into the search bar. Join our group, join our community. I love the community that we've created. All right, let's get to our fourth tip. Fourth tip is going to be the R in Spark, is going to be resistance training. So you hear a lot about stretching, and I think you've heard about stretching before. You probably knew that if you have plantar fasciitis, you should stretch. And maybe you should stretch your Achilles, maybe you should stretch your fascia, but you weren't sure what you should do for it. So hopefully now that you're going to get that stretch, you're going to know exactly how to stretch the fascia. But you probably haven't heard about resistance training and loading for your foot. So this is an important piece that I find is missing in a lot of protocols and a lot of the treatments out there. Sorry guys, it's been a long day, a lot of talking today. Had a teaching day, so that's why I'm in full professor mode, pulling out some anatomy and bones. But I am drinking out of my Finis Under the Arch, so I figured I'm like one of those types of people, whenever you're getting ready for a big race, you just start pulling out like old shirts. Like this week, I'll probably wear every old Hartford shirt that I own. I don't know if any of you guys are like that, but I like think about, hey, I got this mug when I ran my first marathon, so you know what? I'm going to drink out of this mug tonight because we're talking about the Hartford half and the Hartford full tonight. So why don't I finish under the arch? I hope to see many of you finishing under the arch on Saturday. So I'm starting to hydrate now on Monday. So don't forget, guys, you're going to want to check out the live we did with Kelly on proper nutrition before Hartford's race. So to kind of refresh your memories on proper nutrition as well as hydration and electrolytes before the full or the half on Saturday. So resistance training, we need to add load to the actual fascia, not just stretch it. Meaning when you're running, you're putting your body weight, every single step you take is coming down on one foot. And that's a lot of pressure to that fascia and a lot of pressure to those muscles on the bottom of your foot. So you need to actually strengthen these muscles and actually add load to those muscles by doing specific exercises that are going to help make this area more resilient. So kind of make those muscles, make the tissues more resilient. And if you have this chronic pain, and it's been going on for months now, you can bet there's some degenerative changes to that tendon. How do degenerative tendon problems heal? Is by adding load and stress to the tendon. It's not by resting it. It's not by icing it. It's not by doing any other modality, either KT tape, ultrasound, iontophoresis, whatever the case may be. Decreasing inflammation, any of your anti-inflammatory agents is not going to heal a chronic tendon problem or soft tissue problem. It's actually adding load. And that's what all the new research has been showing over the last decade or two, is loading the tissues with eccentric exercises or heavy, slow resistance exercises. And that's what you need to do to the fascia. So I actually did post a progression of stretches and how to start to add load to the fascia with a calf raise with the fascia in a stretch position. So if you guys want that video, just type in strengthening into the comment box. I'll send you that video of how to start strengthening. Make sure though, I'm going to caution you guys, I don't give this to clients until their pain and their irritability is way down. So don't try to do this video if you are having pain, and it should definitely not increase your pain. So make sure it doesn't increase your pain. But I will be happy to share that with you guys, because not a lot of people talk about adding load to the fascia. We need to add load and strengthen it to make it more resilient so you can run without pain. And then also strengthening your intrinsic foot muscles. We call that short foot exercise, or kind of strengthen or doming of the foot. That actually makes your foot more stable underneath. So when you land, every single step you take, there's more stability to your foot, less stress to the actual fascia. So that's tip number 4, is resistance. Tip 5, guys, last tip, I'm going to get this right at some point, is K. So we're going to keep up with the exercises. We're going to keep up with the stretching. We're going to keep up with the strengthening exercises for consistency. So remember, you're not going to stop doing these when you feel better or when your foot starts feeling better. You need to actually keep up with this. If you've had this condition, guys, like I said, it takes a while for it to heal. It can come back very easily. You could flare it up very easily if you ramp up your training or your shoes are worn out too much. So I actually just had the Woodbridge Running Company last week, got a new pair. So you need to replace those shoes every 300 to 400 miles, depending upon the size and how much you're beating up your shoes. But if your shoes are worn out, you're doing way too much training, you've really increased your training load, you've really added in some high intense speed work, high intense hills, stuff you're not used to doing, you increased your long run by like 3 miles at a clip, right? So you did something where you really increased your training load or your mileage per week, then you're going to need to really make sure that you're keeping up with your exercises to prevent this from coming back. So you want to do some type of maintenance phase. All right. So remember, that's where your rehab exercises, which is pretty much what I'm sharing with you tonight, becomes your prehab. Right. So it becomes your prehab exercises. All right. So that is our fifth and final tip. If this makes sense to you guys, just type in "makes sense" into the comment box. I want to make sure that this is making sense to all of you. Let me know if you liked the little anatomy review. Was that helpful? Was it helpful to see some of these muscles that we're talking about, some of the bones? If you want to see more of that stuff, just type in anatomy. And then I know you guys kind of like some of that. I don't want to get too professorial on you. But sometimes I think I'm a very visual person myself. So if I can visualize what we're actually talking about, I know that's how I learn best. So again, I want to try to help you throw out some good kind of valuable content that's going to help you in the future. So let me know if the anatomy stuff is helpful for you. Kurt, thanks for jumping on here on the live. Latoya, good to see you. Thank you for jumping on here on the live. Marva says, makes sense. I'm glad it made sense to you. Guys, if you do have any specific topics that you want to hear about, remember every Monday night, 8 p.m. or slightly thereafter, as I'm getting back from helping a lot of the runners out there and treating my clients, around 8 o'clock, we go live. We do these live trainings. I want them to be highly valuable for you. If you have a topic of interest, please drop it in the comment box. Send me a direct message on a topic that you want to learn more about. I'll be happy to do it. If it's an area that I am not the expert on, then I will be happy to find someone. If you are an expert in a certain area that relates to running that may be valuable for our group, let me know. Drop me a message. I'd love to have you on here on the live, and we could do a little Q&A on the live. That would be awesome. I would love to hear that. Jeff says, makes sense. Thank you, Jeff. And guys, those of you who are running Hartford, let's jump in. Let's meet. Even if you only want to do the warm-up, I would love to meet a lot of you that are in this group in person. It's just so nice. I met a couple of people over the weekend at the race in the group. So it's just nice to have a little face-to-face. See you online. You guys like see me. I don't necessarily see you all the time. So that's definitely good. And if you are having heel pain, guys, and you do want a little bit more structure, and you start doing some of these exercises and maybe they're really not helping, or you've tried them in the past, I'd be happy to jump on a call with you if you want to talk specifically about the pain that you're having. See if it's a good fit for us to meet in person. Maybe you need some one-on-one specific evaluation to kind of find out what are the specific contributing factors. Because today we talked about the most common things that I see clinically, that I've seen in my clinical experience treating runners for 16 years, as well as some of the research. We kind of got into what is some of the latest research on plantar fasciitis. But for you specifically, everything that we talked about tonight might not work for you specifically. So we might need a more detailed evaluation, because there are a ton of more things that I do on an individual basis with my clients. So I'd be happy to jump on free call with you to talk about your specific issues and pains that you're having. If you are in the Hamden, Connecticut area, I would love to talk to you about that. I just want to thank you guys, and just kind of quick recap on what we did talk about today. I know a bunch of people are just jumping on here on the live. Tracy, thanks for jumping on. Amanda, thanks for jumping on. Stephanie, thanks for jumping on. You're going to have to go back, check it out on the replay, and talk about, we talked about 5 tips to kind of help you with your plantar fascia pain. So We kind of brought up the acronym of SPARK, and we talked about, first thing we talked about stretching. Second thing we talked about was patience. Third thing we talked about was activity modification. Fourth thing we talked about was resistance training and adding actually load to the fascia. Fifth thing we talked about was keep up with the exercises, the stretches, as well as the strengthening. Those are the 5 tips. That's the SPARK acronym for how to run with heel pain, foot pain, to keep you healthy. Sundar, we're closing up here, but he says, next week, please share a video related to the post-race stretch and how to be mobile and when to resume running. So actually, that's a great topic. Sundar, yes, I love it. I love it. So why don't we talk recovery, right? So especially for the marathon. We could talk half marathon, but we talk half marathon and marathon recovery, post-race stretching. I like it. When you return to running. So yes, let's do that, Sundar. Thank you very much for the idea. I love it. So we're going to do post-race recovery for next week's live. If anyone does want to jump on here on the live with me to talk about this topic, I would love that as well. But I love that idea, Sundar. Thank you very much. Guys, it's been Monday Night Spark Live. Thank you for jumping on here. If you're here and you watch the replay, guys, just type in #TeamReplay. If you watched on YouTube, thank you for watching. Thank you for visiting the channel. Consider subscribing. Thanks again, guys. Until next time, have a great night. Bye.